Hi, this is Wendy, and welcome to my Heal and Grow podcast, where we grow gently, one small thought at a time. If you weren't afraid of failing, what's the first thing you would do tomorrow? That question might sound simple, but it can touch the deepest root of our self-doubt. The place where we know what we want, yet still hesitate to take the first step. In today's episode, I want to talk about something that almost all of us have felt at some point in life. Those moments of self-doubt. The times when you know you're capable but still hold back. When you know what you should do, but the fear of being wrong or being judged keeps you still. And sometimes, that very lack of confidence makes us step away from the opportunities we actually deserve to have. Think about it for a moment. Was there a time when you were laughed at as a child? Or maybe you grew up in an environment where mistakes were judged too harshly. Or perhaps it's simply because you've spent too long putting others above yourself. The truth is, a lack of confidence isn't your fault. It's not a fixed part of who you are. It's just the mark left by experiences that haven't been healed yet. Maybe someone once made a hurtful comment, and you carried it with you for years. Maybe you made a small mistake, but were scolded so harshly that you started fearing mistakes altogether. Or maybe you grew up surrounded by people who only noticed what you hadn't done right, and forgot to tell you how much effort you had already made. Over time, those words and those memories turn into a quiet voice in your head, whispering every time you want to try something new. I'm not good enough. I'll probably mess this up. That's how self-doubt begins. Not because you're weak, but because you've been hurt before. And deep down, you're just trying to protect yourself from being hurt again. You know, the truth is, we all have moments when we don't feel confident, and that's completely okay. No one in this world is certain about everything. No one always knows exactly what they're doing, or always has the right answers to life's questions. Even the people you admire most have mornings when they look in the mirror and wonder, am I good enough? Am I still on the right path? You see, a lack of confidence isn't a weakness. It's a very human reaction. A way for your heart to say, this matters to me. You worry. You hesitate. You doubt yourself. Not because you're broken, but because you truly care about what you're doing. If you didn't care, you wouldn't feel scared. If it didn't matter, you wouldn't feel so much. So that feeling of self-doubt, it's actually a beautiful sign of sincerity, because only those who live truthfully, who put their heart into what they do, can tremble at the thought of losing it. That's why instead of seeing self-doubt as a flaw, see it as something deeply human. A reminder that you're still feeling, still learning, and still growing. Because when you're afraid, when you question yourself, you're often standing right next to something that truly matters to your heart. And sometimes that fear is simply proof that you're heading in the right direction. Everyone starts somewhere. No one is born confident, and no one begins already knowing everything. Each of us has a starting point. A place where we're still unsure, still afraid to make mistakes, still figuring out what to do first. So, there's nothing shameful about not knowing yet, not having yet, or not being good at something yet. Not having simply means you're still on your way there. Not knowing just means you still have room to learn, to grow, and to understand. The things that make you feel small today are actually the soil that helps you grow tomorrow. No seed ever grows directly in the sunlight. Everything begins in the dark, in the quiet, unseen places where no one claps, no one praises, but growth still happens. And in that darkness, the seed learns to endure, to take root. And when it's strong enough, it rises on its own. Life is just like that. When you feel weak or inadequate, that's often when you're quietly learning how to be stronger. Every fear, every failure is a small lesson in patience, resilience, and courage. So don't rush to hate the moments when you feel not enough. Because those moments, the ones that make you feel the smallest, are actually the foundation for your greatest strength later on. When you can look at your self-doubt and say, yes, I'm not there yet, but I'm learning, I'm trying. In that very moment, you've already started to grow. And one day when you look back, you'll realize that everything that once made you feel small was quietly shaping you into someone stronger than you ever imagined. You feel like you're not as good as others? Good. That means you're still looking around, still curious, still wanting to learn and go further. If you never felt less than anyone, maybe you've already stopped growing. You feel like you're not good enough? That's good too, because that feeling, I'm not good enough yet, keeps you humble, keeps you grounded, and pushes you to keep practicing every day. In fact, people who know they're not there yet are usually the ones getting better, little by little. And if you feel lost, that's also good, because only when we lose our way do we start truly searching for our own path. No one ever finds their direction while believing they already know everything. So all those feelings you think are bad, feeling behind, afraid, unsure, or self-doubting, are actually helping you grow a little more each day. They're like the rain, uncomfortable at first, but without it, nothing could ever bloom. So instead of asking, why am I still so weak? Try saying to yourself gently, maybe this is where I'm meant to grow a little more. And soon you'll see, every fear, every bit of self-doubt inside you has quietly been pushing you forward. If only you're willing to listen and learn from it. Every change begins with belief, you know. The most miraculous thing in life is not that we've become perfect, but that we can change. I believe that confidence in yourself isn't about believing you'll never fail, but about trusting that, no matter how many times I fail, I won't give up. That's the kind of confidence that lasts. Gentle, but deep. It doesn't need to be loud or proven to anyone. It's just a quiet voice inside you that whispers every day, keep going, you can do this. When you start believing in your ability to change, the limits around you begin to stretch. Your fears start to shrink. Your failures turn into lessons. And step by step, you become a clearer, steadier version of yourself. So if today you feel lost, if you feel not good enough, not strong enough, please remember, it's okay. As long as you still want to change, you're already on the right path. And sometimes, that one simple belief that you can change is already the most beautiful beginning. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of Heal and Grow. I know that believing in yourself isn't always easy. There will be days when you feel small, unsure, or not good enough. But please remember, as long as you still want to change, you're already moving in the right direction. I hope this week brings you peace. The kind of quiet strength that helps you face yourself with gentleness and trust a little more in your ability to grow. Time, once it passes, can never be reclaimed, and mental energy doesn't recharge as quickly as a phone battery. If you let other people, or unimportant things, drain too much of your energy, you won't have enough left for what truly matters. Time is something we all think we have plenty of, until one day we look back and realize most of it was given to things that never really mattered. The same goes for our energy. So this episode is a gentle reminder. Live with intention. Because how you spend your time is how you're spending your life. If you want to know the value of 1 year, ask a woman who has just gone through the pain of giving birth to her first child. If you want to know the value of 1 day, ask a patient who has just been saved. If you want to know the value of 1 minute, ask someone who missed their bus home. And if you want to know the value of 1 second, Ask the person who just escaped an accident. Now, imagine you have a very special bank account. Every day the universe deposits into it 24 hours. No more, no less. You can spend that time learning, loving, resting, or chasing your dreams. But whether you use it or not, at midnight, the entire balance disappears, and the next morning, a new deposit arrives. The thing is, no one knows when that account will close. So what matters is not how much time you have, but how you choose to use it. Spend each hour with meaning, on the people you love, on the things that make your heart feel alive, and on yourself. Time is the fairest thing in life. Everyone gets the same 24 hours a day. But unlike money, time can't be saved or borrowed. Once it passes, it never comes back. When you spend your time on meaningless things, you're trading away a piece of your life. But when you use it for things that matter, to learn, to love, to live truthfully, you're investing in your own life. Because the way you use your time is, in the end, the way you live your life. Make time for the things that truly nourish you, not the things that only keep you busy. Nurturing yourself isn't just about rest. It's about doing the things that bring your soul back to life. Like reading a book that inspires you, walking under the morning sun, talking with someone who makes you feel at peace, or simply sitting in silence, listening to your own heart. Sometimes, it means letting go of relationships that drain you, or saying no to things that exhaust your spirit. Sometimes, it's a nourishing meal, a full night's sleep, or a day when you don't have to pretend to be anyone else. But what happens if you keep trying to give everything to the world and forget to ask, is my heart still happy? What happens if you keep pouring out your energy, but never stop to refill your own cup? An empty vessel cannot pour anything out. A tired mind cannot create happiness. Maybe what we really need isn't to do more, try harder, or run faster, but to pause for a moment, to remember why we began, and what truly makes us feel alive. Science tells us that the brain needs rest to recharge and focus deeply again. Ancient wisdom teaches that the mind needs stillness to see itself clearly. Yet today, we often do the opposite. We work more, move faster, try to hold on to everything, and end up only feeling more exhausted. The more we try to control everything, the more we lose control of ourselves. We think we're mastering life, but really, we're just being swept away by the very current we created. And when both the mind and the heart are tired, we can't think clearly. We can't feel deeply and slowly. We lose the most important thing of all, the life within us. And you know what? Time is precious, but your mental and emotional energy is just as important. Because there are days when you still have all 24 hours, yet you can't seem to do anything. Not because you've run out of time, but because your mind is already exhausted. Time gives you the chance to live, but your energy is what allows you to truly live. If something costs you your peace of mind, then it's simply too expensive. Whether it's a job, a relationship, or an opportunity, if it keeps you up at night, if it constantly stresses your mind, if it makes you feel like a stranger to yourself, then maybe it's no longer worth holding on to. I've seen so many people like that. They have good jobs, stable incomes, even the kind of success that others admire. But when you talk to them, their eyes are filled with exhaustion. They no longer find joy in the things that once made them feel alive. They try to hold on to everything: the job, the relationship, the reputation. But the more they hold, the more they lose themselves. and some people take a long time to realize this. No success is worth the price of your peace. And no relationship is worth staying in if you have to fight yourself just to survive each day. Some people work endlessly, only to realize, when they finally sit alone at night, how empty they feel inside. You can have money, but no time left to enjoy it. You can have fame, but no energy to feel it. A restless mind is like a room that's never been cleaned. Every thought, worry, regret, and fear piles up in the corners. And even when you want to rest, there's no space left to sit still. When your mind isn't at peace, you overthink, you overanalyze, and you worry about things that haven't even happened. Every word, every look, every small gesture from others can shake your entire mood. You become easily irritated, easily sad, easily pulled into the energy of those around you. Gradually, your emotions and energy depend entirely on what happens outside you. Just one comment, one attitude, one small situation can keep you awake at night and make you suffer deeply. Protecting your time means knowing what you truly want. Protecting your peace means knowing when to stop, and both are ways to help you live fully, instead of merely existing. Life is already short. Don't waste your time worrying, resenting, or holding on to anger. Every minute you spend being upset is a minute you lose your inner peace. Time waits for no one, and peace doesn't come to those who keep blaming or punishing themselves. Don't hold on to what's already gone. Don't blame yourself just because things didn't go as planned. Instead, learn to let go, so your mind can breathe, and your heart can finally rest. Think about it. Every time you get angry over something small, you give it the power to control your mood for the entire day. Every time you let someone hurt you, you're giving away a piece of your peace, something that rightfully belongs to you, because every moment you live in peace is a moment you're truly living your life. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today on the Heal and Grow podcast. I hope that after this episode, your heart feels a little lighter, and you remember that you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be at peace. Have you ever felt alone, even when surrounded by people? I think everyone at some point has gone through that feeling, that quiet loneliness in the middle of a crowd. Sometimes we just don't know who to talk to. There are stumbles, confusions, and empty spaces inside our hearts that we can't quite put into words. There are days that aren't particularly happy or sad. Nothing goes wrong, yet we still feel hollow, as if there's no safe place to rest our mind, even when we have everything. Family, friends, work, even love. There are still nights when we lie in our familiar room, staring at the ceiling, and feel a quiet heaviness deep within. And that, I believe, is something every grown-up eventually experiences. The further we go, the fewer people truly understand us. The stronger we become, the harder it gets to share. Sometimes we open up, only to be met with silence or misunderstanding. So we stop trying. We learn to hide it, to comfort ourselves quietly. The truth is, we all feel lonely. The difference is only when each of us learns to face it. When we're young, we still have friends who share our wavelength. But as we grow, take on more responsibilities, and carry heavier burdens, we start to realize some things can only be kept within ourselves. In this episode, I hope to bring you a little more strength and courage to help you get through those moments when loneliness no longer feels like emptiness, but a quiet space where your heart can grow. There's a truth that most of us eventually come to realize. Loneliness is a natural part of growing up. The further you go, and the more you grow, the more you'll find yourself stepping into places that few people truly understand. Not because you've become different, but because what you carry on your shoulders has become heavier. Success often demands intense focus. You pour all your time, energy, and attention into your work and your goals. And without realizing it, you slowly drift away from the relationships you once had. And when you finally start achieving something, you might begin to wonder, are they still genuine with me? Do they like me, or just the position I'm in? Those questions quietly make you pull back a little. As you develop, as your thinking deepens, your sense of responsibility grows, or your position rises, the world around you starts to shift. The conversations you want to have are no longer the same. You're no longer excited about who said what or who did what. You start caring more about direction, about purpose, about how to make things better. And then one day, you realize very few people truly speak the same language as you anymore. Some people might think you've become distant. Some don't understand why you worry about so much. And you sometimes feel tired because you no longer know who you can talk to without being misunderstood. To put it simply, the further you go, the wider your vision becomes. But the fewer people there are who can see things the same way. And that's why many successful people feel lonely. Not because they have no one beside them, but because so few remain on the same frequency. The truth is, loneliness isn't your enemy. It's more like a mirror, reflecting your soul back to you, showing you what you truly feel, think, and need. When the noise of the world fades away, you finally begin to hear the quiet voice inside yourself. All day long, we listen to so many things, other people's opinions, work demands, society's expectations. But when you finally get a moment alone, that's when you can hear something deeper, your intuition, your inner voice whispering softly, what you really want, where you're still hurting, and what truly brings you peace. You see, loneliness is not just emptiness. It's an opportunity to understand yourself better. The very loneliness you've been trying to escape might actually be the doorway to hearing your own heart again. Because in those quiet moments, you start to meet the parts of yourself you've ignored, the emotions you've buried, the dreams you've forgotten, and the fears you've never dared to face. And believe me, if you can choose to stay instead of running away, you'll start to see yourself more clearly. You'll begin to understand why you're sad, why you're tired, why you're angry, and what truly makes you feel at peace. I realized that to escape loneliness, you don't always need to find someone to fill the emptiness. Sometimes all you need to do is sit down and pour out every tangled thought in your mind. When I started to write, everything slowly became clearer. The emotions that once carried me away, anger, sadness, worry, or fear, suddenly felt gentler when I laid them down on paper. Instead of being controlled by them, I began to observe them, to feel them, to sit with them, and gradually, to understand the message they were trying to tell me. And that's when I realized loneliness wasn't as frightening as it used to be. When I learned to sit with it, to listen, and to write down every small feeling inside, loneliness stopped being an empty space I needed to escape from. It became a mirror, one that helped me see myself more clearly each day, to recognize what I needed to let go of and what was truly worth keeping. From that moment on, I began to feel a different kind of strength, a quiet strength, one that made me calmer, deeper, and more grounded in everything I did. That is what I call inner strength, the kind that doesn't shout, but gives you a steady, unshakable peace inside. If you've ever met someone with strong inner strength, you'll notice there's something different about their energy. They don't talk much, but every word they speak carries weight. They don't react impulsively, even when things get difficult. When others lose their temper, they stay calm. When everything around them feels chaotic, they know how to take a deep breath and find their direction again. When your inner world is strong, you're no longer swept away by other people's emotions. You don't get easily shaken by praise or criticism, and you no longer fear losing someone just to avoid feeling empty. That calmness, that quiet steadiness, becomes the foundation of every success. Because people with inner strength know where they're heading. They know when to move forward and when to pause, and they don't get lost in chaos or comparison. They don't try to look strong. They simply are strong. Because they've learned that true power isn't about controlling others, but about controlling themselves. People with a strong inner world are often the ones who succeed more easily, not because they're more talented, but because they know how to stay clear-minded, how to focus on what truly matters, and how to protect their energy from being wasted on trivial things. They don't chase speed. They choose a steady rhythm with a clear direction. They move slowly, but they go far. While others are busy arguing about who's right or wrong, they choose peace, because they understand that only when the mind is still can the path become clear. And it's this steadiness that keeps them from being caught in noise or comparison. They know when to move, when to rest, what to hold on to, and what to let go of. That's why they can stay patient through challenges, consistent in their dreams, and calmly reach their version of success. One that isn't loud or flashy, but full of strength, clarity, and quiet confidence. So, if right now you're spending some time on your own, don't rush to see it as something bad. Don't think you've been left behind, or that you're falling short of anyone. In truth, being alone is a gift, a quiet opportunity to return to yourself, to listen again to the voice within, and to understand who you are, what you need, and where you truly want to go. In this fast-moving world, we often forget how to listen to ourselves. So when life gives you a pause, take it as a chance to rest, to breathe, and to grow. Sit still for a while. Take a deep breath and let your mind settle down. Write down what's been on your heart, or simply look up at the sky. Watch the light shift. Listen to the wind, those small, quiet things that lead you back to peace. And then, you'll start to realize loneliness isn't an empty space to fear. It's a space of light, a place where growth begins. Because only when you learn how to be with yourself will you truly understand what peace feels like. And only then will you be able to love others in the most wholehearted way. Have you ever asked yourself, when you look back at your life, what will you regret the most? Most regrets don't come from the things we did wrong, but from the things we never dared to do. Not daring to say, I love you. Not daring to start. Not daring to walk away. Not daring to live true to who we really are. Because if you don't know what truly matters to you, it's so easy to live by other people's expectations, and in doing so, lose the quiet voice inside your own heart. So ask yourself, when I'm 80 years old, what do I want to see when I look back on my life? What are the moments that make me feel truly alive, free, and happy? My name is Wendy, and welcome to Heal and Grow Podcast. This is where we learn to understand our emotions, our mind, and the beautiful journey of our own life. Before we begin, I want to share with you a true story. There was a nurse named Bronnie Ware who spent many years working in a palliative care unit in Australia. Every day, she listened to people who were at the very end of their lives, sharing their final wishes, the most honest words they had ever spoken, knowing that their time was running out. When Bronnie asked them, "If you could go back, what would you do differently?" she was surprised. No one talked about money, fame, or success. They spoke of the simplest things, yet each one carried so much weight in the heart. I wish I had lived true to myself, instead of living by what others expected of me. I wish I had said I love you more often. I wish I had done what I truly wanted, instead of only doing what I was supposed to do. They sound simple, don't they? But when you stand at the edge of life and death, it's those small things that become the greatest regrets. After many years of listening, Bronnie came to a simple yet profound realization. A life without regret is not a perfect life. It's a life where we dare to live true to ourselves. So many people live right by society's standards. They have stable jobs, good reputations, and financial security, but deep down, they've gone wrong with themselves. Somewhere along the way, they lost sight of who they really are and what truly makes their life feel meaningful and happy. If today you find yourself hesitating, afraid of what others might think, or too shy to say the words your heart truly wants to say, remember this: none of us know how much time we have left. And sometimes, the bravest and most beautiful gift you can give yourself is the courage to live honestly, even just a little, each day. Choose one important thing to do today, because our time is limited. If you want each day to pass without regret, choose one thing that truly matters, and try your best to complete it. Because if we don't choose, life will choose for us. Through messages, meetings, deadlines, and social media. And by the end of the day, we may be busy, but still feel empty. When you decide on one important thing and commit to doing it, you're sending a message to yourself. I know what truly matters. I won't let my life be swept away by small, meaningless things. You don't need to do everything in one day, just one meaningful thing. And that alone can make your day worthwhile. It could be finishing a task you've been putting off. It could be having an honest conversation with someone you love, or simply sitting quietly for 10 minutes, breathing, and listening to yourself. Each small act like that is a brick in the foundation of your life. And when you look back, you won't feel like time has flown by too fast, because you'll know you were truly present in each day. Many people think inspiration is what we need to start. But in truth, action is the fuel. The more we do, the clearer we become about what we're pursuing. The more we engage, the more alive, connected, and meaningful life feels. So don't wait for inspiration to come before you begin. Act first, and inspiration will follow. Many people ask me, I'm already 30, 40, 50 years old. Is it too late for me? But maybe the better question is this: 10 years from now, what do I want to see in my life? If you're 40 and dreaming of starting your own business, imagine yourself at 50, proud of the work you've built, financially comfortable, and having 10 full years of growth, learning, and purpose behind you. 10 years for a journey like that. It's absolutely worth it. And if you're 50 and want to go back to school, remember this: at 54, you'll have your degree, and at 60, you can still succeed. Life doesn't come with a fixed answer key. Sometimes, age, experience, and calmness are your greatest advantages. It's never too late to start, especially to start something your heart truly desires. Because the moment you begin, the moment you dare to do something, even if it's small, even if it's imperfect, you're already turning your dream into a real experience. And when you look back, you'll be able to say with peace and pride, I tried. I lived a life without regret. The truth is, at every stage of life, we all tend to look somewhere else. When we're young, we can't wait to grow up. When we're adults, we miss the carefree days of our youth. And when we grow older, we wish we had slowed down and savored more of it. Because we keep looking ahead or looking back, we forget that life only ever truly happens in the present moment. At every stage of life, the present is a different kind of gift. At 20, the present is curiosity and courage. It's when we don't have much experience yet, but we have endless energy to explore, to make mistakes, to learn. And those stumbles, those messy, beautiful attempts are what make youth unforgettable. At 30, the present becomes clarity and perseverance. It's when we begin to understand what we truly want and realize that meaningful things don't happen overnight. We learn patience, compare ourselves less, and start trusting our own rhythm. At 40, the present is quiet and understanding. We no longer need to prove anything. It's enough to live by our own values, to stay close to those we love, and to appreciate the small, simple things each day. At 50, the present is gratitude and peace. It's when we look back on everything that has happened, no longer blaming, no longer regretting, but smiling, because now we understand that everything had its reason. And if you live fully in each of these moments, at any age, you'll never have to regret wasting time, because at every stage, you've lived it truly. Each moment you've been present in your own life. And perhaps that's what happiness really is. When we take good care of the present moment, the journey ahead naturally becomes softer, gentler. Appreciate today. If you want to grow, start now and stay with it. Learn a little, understand a little, every single day. Life will quietly begin to change. And one day you'll stop asking questions like, is it too late? Or, how do I live without regret? Because by then, you'll already be living fully. Regret only exists in the past, but you are here in the present. So live in a way that when you wake up each morning, you can smile and say, today, I am truly alive. Thank you so much for listening to Heal and Grow podcast. Thank you for spending this time with yourself, for slowing down, reflecting, and learning to live a little more honestly each day. I'm Wendy, and I'll see you in the next episode, where we continue this journey to heal and to grow. Maybe you're in your 20s, still figuring out your own path. Or maybe you've stepped into your 30s, that age people often call the time to be settled. But in truth, it's the stage when we start to understand ourselves on a much deeper level. Today, I want to talk with you about your 30s, a very special milestone in life. People often say, 30, flirty, and thriving. It sounds playful, but it's actually quite true. Your 30s are the age of confidence and intellectual charm. You've gone through enough pain to understand your own heart, and enough experiences to no longer feel the need to prove yourself to anyone. If your 20s were the years of searching for the world, then your 30s are the years of returning to yourself. This is the time when we start asking the real questions. What kind of life do I truly want to live? Is this job, this relationship still right for me? According to psychology, the age between 28 and 35 is when many people begin to question their lives again. It's like a small identity crisis, a moment when your soul pauses and wonders, Am I really on the right path? Is this the life I truly want? It might sound scary, but actually, this is the perfect time to wake up, to look within, understand yourself more deeply, and discover what truly gives your life meaning. You know, in psychology, there's a researcher named Erik Erikson who said that human life is divided into many stages. And in each stage, we have to go through a small crisis, like a test, to help us grow and become more mature. In our 20s, most of us begin the journey of trying to figure out who we are. It's an exciting time, but also a confusing one. We're afraid of failing, afraid of being judged, afraid we're not good enough. We're torn between dreams and reality, between living up to what others expect and living in a way that truly feels right for us. But through those messy, uncertain years, we slowly start to understand ourselves a little more. We learn what makes us happy, what gives life meaning, and most importantly, we start learning how to trust ourselves. Then comes our 30s, and the battle changes. We start craving stability, a steady job, a meaningful relationship, a balanced life. But along with that comes doubt, exhaustion, and sometimes a quiet sense of being lost. The questions begin to appear. Am I really going in the right direction? Is this the life I truly want to live? At this age, courage isn't about being reckless anymore. It's about having the strength to choose again, to start over, even when it's hard, even when it means going back to the beginning. And that kind of courage, the quiet, grounded kind, is what real growth looks like. By the time we reach our 40s and 50s, we face a different kind of battle. Many people begin to slow down, afraid of change, afraid to step out of their comfort zones. Some start to wonder, is it too late for me now? But courage in this season means keeping the fire alive, not letting comfort kill your dreams, and still believing that as long as you wake up in the morning, you can begin again. The truth is, no age is easy. Every chapter of life has its own battles to fight. The only difference is, as we grow older, we fight more quietly, but with deeper strength. And the one thing that keeps us from being swept away by life is courage. The courage to live authentically, the courage to keep going, and the courage to change when your heart tells you it's time. Have you ever asked yourself, what am I really working so hard for? Who am I trying to make proud? My parents, my partner, my coworkers, or maybe even strangers on the internet? We often spend our youth trying to prove something to someone. But then one day, we realize there are only two people we truly need to make proud. It's the 8-year-old you and the 80-year-old you. Just imagine for a moment, if that little 8-year-old, with bright eyes full of dreams, could see the person you are today, would they light up and say, wow, that's me at 40? Or would they go quiet for a bit and softly ask, what happened to us? And when you reach 80, will you be able to sit down, smile gently, and say, yes, I've lived a life with no regrets? Turning 30 is such a special milestone. You're no longer as impulsive as you were in your 20s, but you're still young enough to keep dreaming. It's that in-between stage where you begin to realize something important. That what truly matters isn't how many people like you, but whether you are living in a way that feels true to yourself. You start to see it clearly. No matter how kind you are, there will always be someone who doesn't like you, and that's completely okay. Because the moment you stop trying to please everyone is the moment you start living more honestly with yourself. You stop forcing yourself to be perfect. You stop pretending to be what others expect, and you start living in a way that makes you feel peaceful inside. At first, It can feel scary, scared of being misunderstood, scared of what people might say, scared of being left behind. But then you'll realize the more authentic you are, the lighter you feel, because you no longer have to wear a mask every day, no longer have to guess who you need to be just to be accepted. And the most beautiful thing is, you start attracting people who are genuine, people who like you for who you really are, not for the version of you that tries to make everyone happy. Living true to yourself doesn't mean you're against anyone. It simply means standing by your own side. It means having the courage to say no when something doesn't feel right, and saying yes to the things that truly make you happy. No one is ever truly settled at 30. In fact, 30 is often when everything begins to shift, when we start to understand what we really want, what we truly need, and what makes life feel meaningful. If you're willing to put in the effort at 30, to learn, to unlearn, to try again, then by 35, you'll find yourself steadier. You won't panic when things change, because you'll know you've already survived harder days before. By 40, you'll carry the calmness of someone who understands life, but still keep the spark of someone who believes in good things. You'll work with more depth, more intention, slower but surer. You'll stop chasing everything, and instead, choose what truly matters to you. Then, by 45, you'll start passing that light on to others. You'll no longer feel the need to prove yourself, but rather, you'll want to help others see the truths that once took you years to learn. And when you reach 50, you'll look back without regret, because you'll know every single year had its purpose, the lessons, the struggles, the turning points. All of them shaped you into someone strong, deep, and wonderfully human. And you'll smile quietly and say, I'm glad I didn't give up at 30. I'm glad I had the courage to live honestly and start learning all over again. 30 isn't the age to have everything figured out. It's the age to build the foundation for the most beautiful years that are still to come. As long as you keep trying, keep believing, and keep learning, then the years ahead, 35, 40, 50, will be years of freedom, peace, and quiet pride in who you've become. So, what about you? Where are you now in your own journey? And if you could choose one thing to start over with today, what would you choose for yourself? Thank you so much for staying with me until the end. I'm Wendy, and this is the Heal and Grow podcast. I'll see you in the next episode. Have a peaceful night, my friends. Recently, I've received so many heartfelt messages from you, sharing how these podcast episodes have helped you get through difficult times, and how they've guided you back to peace within yourself. Every time I read your words, I feel deeply moved, because it reminds me that what we're creating together here isn't just a podcast. It's a space where small but meaningful changes truly begin. And if you're still on your journey, still taking one small step at a time toward the life you dream of, please keep that energy alive. Before we begin today's episode, let me ask you something. Have you ever stopped and asked yourself, how far have I already come? There's a strange paradox in life. Most of us forget to see our own progress. We get caught up chasing what we haven't achieved yet, always looking at what's still missing. We compare the first page of our story to the middle chapter of someone else's, and end up feeling like we're falling behind. We follow in other people's footsteps, and forget that our own path was never meant to look like anyone else's. But what if I'm here to remind you of something simple? You're doing better than you think. If you observe the most successful people, you'll notice one thing. They don't talk loudly about their journey. They don't need to show every step or prove their worth to the world. They simply keep going, quietly, consistently. They're so focused, so devoted to what they do, that they no longer have time to doubt themselves. And then one day, when they look back, they realize that everyone around them has already begun to call them successful. Have you ever heard of the mushroom law? Mushrooms don't grow overnight. Before you see them appear above the ground, they've already spent weeks, months, sometimes even years, growing quietly in the dark. Beneath the soil, the mycelium spreads silently, reaching out, connecting and absorbing every bit of nourishment. No one sees it, no one talks about it, but that's exactly where life truly begins. And then one day, when the conditions are just right, in a single night, the mushroom appears. People are amazed. Wow, it grew so fast. But in reality, it had been preparing for that moment all along. We're the same way. Before the world sees the results, before anyone calls us successful, we've already lived through countless unseen days. Those late nights when you kept going, those moments of doubt when you questioned yourself, those times when you almost gave up, but didn't. You chose to keep going. You chose strength. That's your rooting phase, the season when your growth happens underground. You might feel like you're standing still, but in truth, you're growing, just like the mushroom before it reaches the light. So if you're in a slow season right now, still learning, still healing, still doing your best, and no one seems to notice or give you credit, please remember this: you're not stuck, you're growing in ways others simply haven't seen yet. Your progress is still happening, quietly and beautifully, even when you can't see it yourself. The journey you're on, the feelings you're experiencing, only you truly understand them. And because of that, you don't owe the world an explanation. No one else can walk through your pain for you. No one knows the nights you've spent awake, holding on to a dream that hasn't yet come true. Only you know why you keep going. And only you understand the reason you started in the first place. Sometimes, the world won't understand everything you do. People around you may judge, question, or doubt you, but you don't need to answer to all of it. Because silence is also a form of confidence. It's your quiet way of saying, I know where I'm going, and I don't need to shout to prove it. The more you try to explain yourself to people who don't want to listen, the more drained you'll feel. Every time you try to convince someone who's not open to understanding, you're placing your precious energy in the wrong place. So don't waste your strength trying to prove anything. Use it to create. Use that same energy to build, to design, to bring ideas and value into the world. Let your work tell your story. Let your results, even the balance in your bank account, be the strongest reply you'll ever give. Let your persistence be the proof that you are, indeed, on the right path. People may not understand you today, but one day, they'll see the value you've been creating all along. Just like the sun, it never needs to announce that it shines. It simply does, quietly and consistently, every single day. So instead of exhausting yourself trying to explain, channel that energy into building, creating, and living well. Make every single day a living proof of your growth, because you're not standing still. You're simply growing in silence. And whether you see it or not, you're doing better than you think. There's a quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson that deeply moved me, and honestly, it changed the way I live my life. What you do speaks so loudly that I cannot hear what you say. Your actions matter more than your words. Words can be beautiful, eloquent, inspiring, but if your actions don't align with them, those words lose their meaning. You don't need to talk too much about who you are. Just live right, act right, and stay true to your values. People will feel your authenticity without you ever needing to explain. The moment you stop trying to prove yourself and instead pour all your energy into doing, creating, and adding real value, that's when everything begins to shift. You don't need to say, "I'm changing." Just start living differently, and one day, people will see a new light in you. You don't need to say, "I love my work." Let your daily dedication prove that for you, and you don't need to say, "I'm strong." Let the way you rise, again and again, after every fall be your quiet testimony. True strength isn't loud. It's choosing to stay gentle even when life sends you its toughest lessons. And maybe that's the deepest kind of growth, when you don't have to say a single word, yet the peace within you can still be felt by everyone around you. Before we wrap up today, I want to ask you something. When was the last time you let your actions speak louder than your words? And today, what's one small thing you can do to move closer to the best version of yourself? If this message touched your heart, leave a comment or share this episode with someone who might need to hear these words tonight. Because giving, even a little, is one of the most beautiful ways to spread your inner light. There will always be someone more beautiful than you, someone taller, slimmer, or more graceful. But there will never be another you. In a world where social media makes everything look perfectly polished, learning to love yourself, even the imperfect parts, might just be the bravest thing you'll ever do. Today, I want to share something that seems simple, yet has the power to change the way we see ourselves. Embracing your own beauty. Beauty is a gift of nature. Whether you believe in a creator or not, the truth remains, no one in this world was ever born to be the same. On this planet, there are more than 8 billion people, yet only you carry this face, this voice, and this heart. Only you smile the way you do, walk the way you walk, and see the world through the eyes that belong only to you. No one else shares your heartbeat, your story, your pain, your joy, or the journey that shaped who you are today. In a world where almost everything can be copied, your beauty remains the only original, and the most magical part is, you never have to become someone else to be loved. Just by being yourself, you already make this world a more beautiful place. So here's the question. Why is it so hard for us to truly love and be content with ourselves? Maybe it's because every single day, we live in a world that constantly tries to tell us who we should be. Social media is filled with flawless faces, perfectly shaped bodies, and seemingly perfect lives. We know, deep down, that most of it is carefully curated moments. Yet we still can't stop ourselves from comparing. Every time we scroll past another beautiful picture, a familiar whisper echoes in our minds. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not enough to be loved. Little by little, we start believing in the standards set by others. Believing that our happiness, our worth, and even our ability to be loved depend on whether we are good enough by their definition. But the truth is, most of these so-called standards aren't even real. They're designed to make us keep feeling incomplete, to make us buy more, do more, change more, until we're exhausted, yet still never feel enough. And in the midst of millions of filtered photos and carefully curated smiles, we slowly lose connection with the truest thing of all, ourselves. That's why sometimes, even when we're praised, admired, or seem to have everything, we still feel empty inside, because we've been trying to live up to an image that was never truly ours. This is how the world makes us forget our true worth. I remember a girl once told me that every morning, the first thing she did wasn't looking in the mirror, but opening her phone. She would scroll through hundreds of photos, friends traveling, people showing off their bodies, glowing faces, flawless skin, and she sighed, "I wish I could look as beautiful as they do." She started trying everything she could to improve herself. Extreme diets, exhausting workouts, expensive skincare, and finally, saving up money for a few small changes to her face. At first, she felt more confident, but every time she saw someone online who looked more perfect, she felt lacking again, wanting to change just a little bit more. Gradually, she no longer recognized herself in the mirror. She was prettier, yes, but not happier. Because every change came from fear. Fear of being compared, fear of being forgotten, fear of not being beautiful enough in someone else's eyes. That was when she realized something important. She had spent so much energy chasing other people's images, instead of nurturing her own true value. She once wanted to be more likable, but in the process, she lost the most lovable person, herself. Maybe you've been like her too. Not because you wanted to change, but because you've heard too many opinions about how you should look. You tried a new hairstyle because someone said it'd suit you better. You went on a diet because you were afraid of being judged. You edited your photos to look better in the world's eyes. And little by little, you forgot how you used to love yourself just the way you were. We've grown used to living in a world that constantly tells us we're not enough. But you know what? It's the imperfections that make you beautifully real. Because beauty doesn't live in your face or your body. It lives in your energy, your kindness, and the way you stay true to your own values. When you stop chasing how others see you and start taking care of the world inside you, you'll finally see you've been enough all along. It's time to stop, because if you keep chasing other people's standards, you'll eventually realize they never end. When you lose weight, they'll say you need more curves. When you gain weight, they'll tell you to slim down. When you go natural, they'll call you plain. When you wear makeup, they'll say you're fake. And just like that, a never-ending cycle is created, born from the lack of love for ourselves. We keep editing, changing and beautifying just to be accepted, while forgetting the most important thing. True beauty doesn't depend on how much others like you, but on how truly you live according to your own values. Your height, your weight, or your body shape do not define you. Your skin color does not define you. Your freckles, scars, or acne do not define you. Your follower count does not define you. No one has the right to define your beauty. There is no scale that can measure the light that shines from a heart confident in its own self-love. And when you stop trying to become a version that others will accept, when you dare to live fully as who you truly are, that is when you truly shine. You are already whole, even when you forget that you are. Be proud of the imperfections that make you unique, because they are what shape your story, your essence, and your soul. Live. Smile. And show the world that when someone truly accepts themselves, they shine in a way no one else ever could. Maybe you don't realize it yet, but that light, it has always been within you. Sometimes you just forget it's there, and maybe the person you've been searching for all along is your truest self, gentle, imperfect, yet whole and enough. Before we end today, I want to leave you with a few questions to reflect on. When was the last time you smiled at yourself? If no one were judging, how freely would you dare to be yourself? And if you truly believed you were already enough, how would your life begin to change? Thank you for listening to Heal and Grow podcast. I wish you a peaceful day. And remember, you are enough, even in the moments you forget it. I'm Wendy, and I'll see you in the next episode, where we'll take one more gentle step together on this journey of understanding, loving, and healing ourselves.